Growth is moving that way. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I think it's hilarious that she said next school year. Like
I
my sister,
know.
but no, my sister was the other day. She was like, "Okay, can you remind me of what the European calendar is?" And it's like it's so easy. It was like, "It's a school year. Like you're a teacher. You get this. Like it's a school year."
Oh,
And I need to get that out of my brain because I'm not even like returning. So it's like, but that's how bad it's in my brain that I'm just like, and that's
Mhm.
multiple times I've tried to talk about football instead of saying season. I've said school year, and I'm just like, ah. We are alive. Hello, FanFest. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitter. It is very early here in the United States. Celsius cold brew. I don't even think Sharpie had any time to do anything because it's so early there. I'm pretty sure he just woke up, put that shirt on, and I don't even
I
think
played
he's got like.
FIFA. I played a game of FIFA, so I'm like, I'm awake. I'm mentally awake now.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Dang.
Take.
What up, fellas?
What's going on?
Technically, the person who should be the most awake because he is the latest in his day. How are you feeling, sir?
Barely awake. But it's all good, though. It's all good. Always happy to talk city in all of its various forms.
Let's go.
Love it. Same city, same passion.
There
Yeah,
you go.
so let's get into this because we actually have more that we want to talk about than just the lineups and the match overall. We'd like to try to talk a little bit about uh, our new director of football, Niels Nielsen. So let's get into it. Starting 11 looks like this: Roebuck, Kasperize, Houghton, Greenwood, Morgan, Hasagawa, Angadal, Coombs, Kelly, Hemp, and Shaw. Because of injuries and I guess the focus and where we're sitting at, I was talking about in the pre-match, I was able to even guess the starting 11, and that's not my thing. And so, uh, if I guessed that this was going to be the lineup, I could assume that's what everyone else would expect. So let's not talk about the starting 11 specifically. I guess generally, let's talk specifically about who is going to be the most important, yes, player in this match for us. So,
So for me, I think the most important players in this match are probably going to be um, Hemp and Esme Morgan, simply because probably Liverpool's most dangerous player based off their lineup is probably going to be Katie Stengel. Um, so it's going to be really important to number one, keep her pinned back. So that's where Lauren Hemp's going to come in, and then number two, like when she is not pinned back, having to defend, we also need to make sure that Esme Morgan switched on because she's going to be playing that hybrid fullback slash midfield role. So it's going to be really important for her to make sure that she's tracking Katie Stingle where she goes on the field. So I think those two players in combination with each other, and even when Chloe, like Gareth does usually like about the somewhere between the 15th and 25th minute, like in the first or second half, he'll flip his wingers. So also Chloe Kelly will have some of that responsibility as well.
hmm.
For me, I think it comes down to the front line in the combo of Kelly and Bunny. They have a really great relationship. Kelly's crosses into the box have been incredible. Her corners have been incredible. I think Bunny has to be clinical early. We always create chances, and especially in our recent form. So it's just a matter of like how early are we going to convert. And normally, Buddy might have it. Some of these will have chances, right? But if she can get one of those to go in early, as we talk about all the time, it'll break down their 5-3-2, because they play that against the bigger sides because they obviously want to minimize, transitions and traffic. So it's going to be critical that Bunny just dominates early, and she's hunting for the record, um, to tie or pass Bill's record.
it's hard for me to say because I don't watch it as closely as you all do. Just too much on my plate. But you know, I'm always about the midfield. So Yui is one of my favorites. So I want to just see her continue to dictate play in our build up. But of course, you can never go wrong picking uh, the big striker up top, similar in makeup and in an effect. You know, her effect on the game to our Holland on the men's side. So between Yui and just trying to get the ball to Shaw in good spots and see if she can't take advantage of it. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think my person is Coombs because I felt like when we struggle, it's because we're not able to get her in the play somehow. And she wants to get in there. She wants to dribble. She wants to try to get some shots on. And so when we start scoring, she's in there. Like somehow, some way, she's like in that mix. So if she's part of the passes. I mean, even if it's just getting the ball at her foot, and it's nothing too serious. It's just I would like to see her, just in the match a little bit more. All right, we'll keep it moving. Look at our opponents. Liverpool. Oh, goodness gracious. So, are you any more familiar with these names, or do you want me to
I got it.
flip through these? Okay.
Okay, so in goal they have Kirby. From left to right, it looks like they're going to play a 5-3-2. Koivisto, Bonner, Roberts, Matthews, and Hines make up that back line. Kearns, Nagano, and Holland make up their midfield, and then Stengel and Dowie up top for the as their two strikers. I think based off of what Charlie said, they usually do play that 5-3-2 in when they play like the top four sides. So like when they've played United, when they played even when they played Chelsea in midweek, this is pretty much how they set up. As a matter of fact, let me see if they. I don't believe that they really had any changes from that particular matchup. Yeah, it looks like
Taylor in midfield was the only change.
yeah,
Taylor
and
Francano.
yeah, and then it looks like Van de Sanden also started in place of Stengel. So I would imagine, based off of their play, I'm expecting that still at 5-3-2. I'm expecting them to sit back a lot and absorb pressure. Again, this is probably one of those matches where you're going to see 65% possession numbers for City or higher. That's another thing about, like, again, I think we talked about this when we played West Ham. Like, a mid-table team, what do they really have to gain and or lose by like actually going for the game? They're pretty much, they've guaranteed that they'll stay up for next season. They're not necessarily in that race with relegation with Brighton and Reading. But at the same time, like they're also not competing with the four teams that are, pushing for Champions League. So their incentive might not necessarily be as high. So I'm expecting them to sit back quite a bit just to make sure that the scoreline is not huge.
And
Well, you know what,
City.
Tom? Oh, sorry. my
Oh
bad.
no, you go.
I was just gonna say that I was thinking about that same like kind of decision that the manager has to make, and I know we were both caught off guard a couple weeks ago, right? When they just went for it. It wasn't the sit back because you think so, like, hey, sit back, absorb pressure. They have a pretty good defensive record. If you look at like the top 5 defenses that are giving up 21 or less goals, they're right there next. They're giving up 34, tied with Aston Villa. They just don't score as much. Like they've only scored 19 goals in 19 matches, but this could be a thing where it's like, hey, y'all, we got nothing to lose now. Like we could take this 5-3-2, make it aggressive, right? So make it more like a 3-5-2 and push up and really, try to get at City early, especially at home. that's why I just think like those first 10 to 15 minutes are so interesting because you'll be able to see like the tactics and see like just how even the first 5 minutes, like see what they really want to do. Um, and it's up to GT to have, have the ladies prepared. Like you got to be ready if they come out and press, but you also got to be ready to control the ball and, go through the patterns if you have possession. So I think that little chess match between managers is going to be really interesting.
So the last 6 meetings we have played against the Liverpool women, City, they're 6-0. And in fact, the goals disparity, it's 16-3. City women always score first. City women or Liverpool only scored in 3 of those 6 matches. And the last time Liverpool have defeated us is May 8th, 2018, and that was just a 1-0 win. Other than that, it's just been straight dominance from our ladies. There was a canceled match in there due to, COVID. But I'm feeling good about it. So is there any last thoughts before we kind of move on to, I guess, the overall WSL league and how everything's sitting and looking?
I don't know if you said this, but looking at the table, well, just the last 5 results, they've got only 1 win in their last 5, including 2 defeats and 2 draws. So it sets up really nicely for us. But again, I say the same thing I say on the men's side, right? We have to go out and handle our business. No one's going to hand us anything. And just because we are the stronger and better team on paper, we fully expect that they're going to come out and they're going to play hard. And it just shouldn't be enough. So I look forward to it.
That's so interesting, Tarek, that you said like we have to handle our business and can't like look for others for help, because I think that like we know that Chelsea has, well, now I think they just have the 1 match in hand since they did play Liverpool at the midweek, and we know that Arsenal still has that match in hand. So I think all of the matches that we've been watching, like. Either Arsenal or Chelsea's opponent will get up early and then like lose the lead, sort of thing. As a matter of fact, I think right now Spurs are losing to United 2-0. So it's not like we're not going to get any help. And I think Charlie made the point. This entire league is going to come down to 3 matches. It's going to come down to Chelsea, Arsenal, Villa, and then the Derby for us and United. So those are really going to be like the 3 defining matches of this particular season, and it's going to determine who goes to those top 3 Champions League spots.
I think my final point is piggyback off of Tom's. It's as much as we want another big scoreline, right? We want to win by 3-4 goals because we've caught up. We closed the gap with Arsenal in the goal differential. We just got to handle our business, and you expect one of those matches that Arsenal has, that he said, the Villa match or the Chelsea match, that they're going to at least draw. And that's really all we need, right? We just need them to draw one of those matches, and then we have a chance as long as we win ours. So it might feel dicey early. It might not feel good. It never does, right? If it's 0-0 half or whatever. But as long as it's 0-0, we're good. If we're down 1, then it's like, oh, wow, we got to really push it. So I'm hoping that the defense is solid and just lets our offense do what it does, because we always score at least 2 goals, right? Like that just feels like the norm. So if we get 2 goals, with 19 and 19 matches, I don't think Liverpool's going to score 2. It's just not in their profile. So I think we got it. I'll call 2-0. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking a similar scoreline. I have this match at 3-1 us.
I don't know what as good as you guys, but I was going to say 3-0.
Man, we just can't keep a clean sheet, and that stresses me out. So I'm going to do 3-1. And yeah, let's keep it moving to Nielsen, which is a fun name. He was overseeing the development of Denmark's U18s before making his switch to the Homeland women's senior side in 2013. He helped the 2017 Danish women's team go to the Euros, women Euros, to the championships, and then they barely lost to the Netherlands. So he's done the whole thing where he's grinded and built a team. He obviously understands football. He's brought in, he did a video interview. I don't know if anybody watched that, but it was a great watch. I will, I guess, just give my quick feels about him. His energy, I tweeted about it. It was like fantastic. He just kind of like just stood there and just like smiled even when they were like flipping to all the hit the photos he was taking. He looked very like uncomfortable in a sweet way. Like he seemed like very endearing, charming guy. And when he just started talking, he made sure that he was like, I'm not stepping on any toes. What everyone is doing is so great. I don't even really want to bring in a bunch of players. I don't even want to get rid of a bunch of players. I just want to help the energy, the vibe, the focus be where it is. So, Gaz can focus on what they need to do. The players can focus on what they need to do, and also looking in the future. So it was good because he just wants to come in and kind of just like fill the cracks on the women's side.
I think that those there were 2 points that I took away from his interview that were so important, and like you touched on, one of them was not necessarily player recruitment, but player retention. And I think that that's something that we can definitely talk about. Probably when we record on Monday. I think there's only 4 players that are going to be out of contract at the end of the year. I believe it's Alana Kennedy, Haley Rasso, um, Demi Stokes, and I'm missing one. Um, but it's only 4, and like most of them are younger players. So like it seems like he's going to make a concerted push to make sure that all of those players are signed. I think the other thing that kind of really the interviewer asked him, like, what ideas, do you think that you'll be giving to the coaching staff? And it's like, I'm an outside thinker, but like, I'm not the coach of the team. That's Gareth's job. Gareth will be doing that. So to me, like, he kind of gave the game away. It was like, oh yeah, like Gareth is slotted to be the coach going forward. I think what's interesting to me is like we haven't heard of an announcement of an extension of any sort. Um, my thought is that I'm wondering if the club is waiting until we get that at least one of those Champions League spots sewn up before they announce it, or if there's some sort of like automatic trigger in his contract once we make Champions League that he's retained for an extra year or something like that. So I'm concerned that we haven't necessarily announced that. I don't want to go into an off season with granted we only have 4 players that are not under contract going forward, but you don't want to have a repeat of last year, and I'm concerned that without an announcement of who the skipper is going to be or that Garrett's going to be retained, that you might see like that exodus of a similar, not maybe not similar, but like an exodus like we saw last summer.
Something that stuck out to me is not really what anything about him. It was the announcement that Karen Bardsley will assist and work alongside him. And it reminds me, like we all talk about City Football Group, Man City, people do similar things, right? It reminds me how Cheeky has, I believe his name is Omar. I forgot the guy's name from the documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you have your 1, you have your 2, because it's not just a one-person job, right? If you really want to do it right, there's a lot of football to scout. There's a lot of different business things you got to do, and keeping things in the family, right? She's a former Barsley's a former City keeper and England goalkeeper. She's finishing a development program, so she's literally just getting her qualifications in. But I think 4 eyes on something is better than 2. So it's not like he's just trying to. He was told, "Hey, you come in and do everything." So let's make a structure that can be sustainable, that can be super strategic in what they do, because the role is all about planning. It's about lining up contracts. It's about scouting the right players. We just had a huge turnover in roster, so you don't have to start from ground zero, right? It's not he came in last summer and had everybody leave, and it's like, what do we do? That work was done by Gareth and others, but now it's just like, how do we add to this? What are we filling the holes? And that's the exciting part, right? Because we see now our competition is obviously Chelsea always has been. Arsenal's not going anywhere. Even with 3, 4 players out with ACLs, they're still going to be difficult. And those players are all coming back. Man U is starting to hit a stride that I didn't see coming. Like they're incredible. So we have to keep up. So I'm excited to see the work that Niels and Karen can do together.
And your
But I think
great point. Oh, so just real quick about Karen, your great point
No.
that she's just getting her credentials is, excuse me, she could still give almost like a player mentality because she probably still has that more than the coach. So that could be a good, because Niels, he stopped playing professional when he was young because he had a bad back. So he's kind of been in a manager mentality or an overseer mentality for a very long time. So, it's just like that old person who keeps that young person around to keep them hip and fresh and stuff like that. And I think that that's what she could also potentially be.
I totally agree with that. Like there's something to be said for having someone on the team who is not, or around the team who is a former player whose playing career is not that far removed. I don't think she's just retired like within the last 18 months. So it's not like she's foreign to to being a player. There's just a lot of relatability there. I'm excited to see what both she and Jill Scott's coaching arc is going to be, because I have a feeling that either eventually one or two of them will be the eventual Man City women's manager. It's just kind of a matter of timing.
Good shot.
No, Jill Scott, company. Oh man, the vibes. Oh, that'd be crazy. Oh, that'd be crazy.
The thing that I'll be interested in, and again, it's harder to tell for me at least, on the women's side, being in the US, you don't get to see like the academy, right? It's one thing to scout and identify players that are already professional, that are already doing great things, and it's easy, right? This person just scored 15 goals. Okay, it's another thing to identify those younger kids. I'm going to use the word kids there, that are coming up in the Manchester area, or even like we do with the on the men's side with the EDS, we go and identify players that we know or we believe strongly will be good down the road. They may be 15 now. And so it may take a little bit more time to show the results of that. But then you have less of a dependence on going outside the club to try to bring people in, when you have a conveyor belt of talent coming through the academy. So I'll be interested to see what Mr. Nielsen does from that perspective. Again, looking at recruitment, but maybe starting a little younger.
Yeah. And I mean, Esme is a product of our academy.
Exactly.
So
Esme Morgan.
they've shown that it works. So yeah, they already know that they can do it. So having, someone like that who has done it, bringing that energy to City will be fantastic.
Well, I mean, just like not necessarily. Well, I don't think we actually had 18 on the bench, but like just in the players selected for selection, like you have Esme Morgan, you have Jemima Dahu, you have Kiara Keating, so that's 3 right there that have come through your system. I know that we identified Lauren Hemp relatively early in her career at Bristol. One of the things that in Gareth's pre-match presser for this particular match, he did say that Chloe Kelly was definitely somebody that was on their radar prior to her transfer from Everton, and even prior to her going to Everton when she was at the academy at Arsenal. So I think that that's something that's being done, but it's definitely something that, like, to Tarek's point, you want to lay that groundwork to make sure that you are more easily identifying that young talent and making sure that you're bringing them into the fold.
Yeah, and that you can actually act on it instead of having to wait for the player to go to another squad and then bring them in at a higher fee. And that's really what it is. It's starting to make that big money. Well, that's good to see. Any last thoughts before we get out of here and watch the match on the FA player?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, we always wonder, is it Paramount, is it FA? Definitely an FA player. And I just want to say that the women, I love that we kind of control our destiny, right? Like, if we score enough goals, Arsenal won't matter. So it's like, just have that mindset, right? We don't wait on them. We go attack. And, we handle our business. The road is always more difficult than being at home at the Academy Stadium, but, we got experience on the road. So I'm excited to see this performance. Like, I want to see an aggressive start in those first 5 to 10 minutes that kind of sets the tempo.
Agreed. And like Crunk, like the more and more I've been thinking about it, when you said Coombs, I think that she really does need to have a big match. Like, she needs, like, I think one of the things that about to me, like, her starting over Castellanos is more of like let's make sure that we have control of this match and that we're like, I need your defensive control, and then like your late ghost runs into the box sort of thing. Whereas Castellanos is really does play like a second striker behind Bunny sort of situation. So I think, like, in order for us to make sure that we are scoring goals regularly, we do definitely need Coombs to be that not only to make sure that she's putting in a defensive shift, but also to have that creativity for our front three.
All right. Well, we are Shades of Blue. This was our kickoff show. Appreciate you, FanFest Live, YouTube, Twitter, DT3. Shout outs to you, homie.
Yes.
Always appreciate
Always holding it down. Out here in LA, my boy.
That's right.
Early.
Well, let's go City.
Come on, City.
6-point